Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Run and Code, humor in South Texas law enforcement. I'm your host, T-Bone. With me, got my back as always, my partner, J-Man. J-Man,
How's it going?
what's up, buddy?
Not much.
We'd like to thank everybody for your patience. I know we've not been putting out the episodes. We're sorry about that. It has been busy. It just doesn't end. I'm a detective. He's active. It's busy, busy, busy. So we appreciate you sticking around this far if you have. And, of course, Jax is a part of the cast. That's our beloved canine who thinks he's 3 times the size he is. So you'll see him wander around. We appreciate y'all sticking around. We know it's been rough. The whole world has seemed to turn to shit in the last couple months. Nothing seems to be going right. And we're just trying to hang on to our little neck of the woods and do our damn job and stay out of trouble and stay out of internal affairs and stay out of court. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But so for those that have stuck around, we appreciate your patience and we appreciate you sticking around and we get your messages. In fact, you know what? I forgot to check our email too, because people tell people email us, and then I don't even check the damn email. Like I said, people, we're busy. We're busy people. Okay, no emails. All right, so either they get the email wrong or no one cares. That's cool. But today, J-Man and I want to talk about crime and punishment. We haven't discussed that, what actual crime and punishment really means. There's the TV reality and TV shows and court TV, and then there's the reality of crime and punishment. And it's easy to say, well, the law is applied to everyone equally. It's not.
Nope.
Let's just be honest. The law is not applied to everyone equally, but a lot of that is on the person, not the law.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it can vary depending on the county you're in. If you're in a blue county or a heavily liberal county versus a heavily conservative county, depends on the way the judge sways, how the jury sways, and that is going to have a lot to do with it.
It sure does.
254 counties in the state of Texas. There's about 10 counties where you're probably going to get the easy ride, and this is one of them. You got this county, you got Austin, Dallas, well, maybe not so much down near the Rio Grande Valley. It's really just going to be Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Dallas are pretty much the most liberal courts in the state.
Yeah.
And then you look at those cities, the crime rate's through the roof because no one's scared of the punishment because they're not really applying the punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Only in super major cases that made super attention all over the news and everyone heard about it, that they might get a long sentence. But if it's something that didn't make the news, they're perfectly happy to slap you with a BS, probation. Don't do it again. Well, he's already done it 10 times before. Do you think that's going to stop him at this point?
Yeah.
So that's my issue with it. But if you read off the black and white Texas Penal Code, Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, what you should get if you are found guilty of a crime, it doesn't mesh with reality.
Oh, no.
It just doesn't mesh with reality. So I'm going to go over the punishment ranges for everything from Class C to a capital offense. And then we're going to discuss why you don't actually see these punishment ranges actually happen.
Yep.
So you get to start your Class C misdemeanors. That's your speeding tickets, fail to signal, no front license plate, illegal window tint, whatever. The max punishment for that is a fine up to $500. No jail time is possible. We won't jail you for it. Now, that means upon conviction. Doesn't mean you can't be jailed prior. If I pull you over, in this county, we don't jail you for Class Cs. We just don't. We don't have time for it. We don't have the space for it. We're not going to do it. But some counties, if you don't sign the ticket, they just take you right then and there, right down to the jail to see the judge. But if you're convicted, you won't do jail time.
Yes.
So don't get that confused with, you do jail. No, that's pre-hold until you see a judge. And then the judge decides, okay, $200 fine, whatever. So max fine up to $500 for that.
And just to throw in a little caveat, I'm not going to segue onto it. City ordinances are different than transportation code violations.
Yes, they are.
So your city ordinance, while what he just read mostly applies to traffic violations.
Mm-hmm.
A city ordinance, the minimum could be $1,000 depending on what the city dictates. Like
it can be
whatever the city dictates.
Absolutely.
The I guess what you want to call it, the punitive punishment scale.
Punitive punishment
scale. So that's you're violating a city ordinance.
Yeah. So you have county codes, city ordinances, and then you have actual state law.
Yeah.
So you cannot be fined more than $200 for a moving violation, but that's not hard in stone. Mm-hmm. There are exceptions. School zone violations.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Active work zones of construction workers, that can be doubled.
Yeah, it sure can.
But your typical regular, hey, you were speeding 10 over in a regular highway, the fine cannot be more than $200 for moving violations. Now, you can get a higher fine for illegal tint or no headlights or whatever, but that's not a moving violation. That's a mechanical violation.
Yeah.
Then the next one up is your Class 2 misdemeanor, up to 180 days in county jail, a fine of up to $2,000 or both. Now, Class 2 misdemeanors can be like first-time DWI,
Yep.
hit and run,
Yes.
without injury, stuff like that. So not major. That's the lowest level of incarceratable. That's a good word. I think I just made up a word. Incarceratable punishment.
Incarceratable.
Now, you can do up to 180 days. In this county, you're not going to. Unless it was
Very
like your
rare.
12th offense and you're mouthing off with the judge during sentencing. And then maybe you might get 180 days. Class A misdemeanor, which is the last level of misdemeanor before you turn to the felony offenses, up to 1 year in county jail, a fine of up to $4,000 or both. So Class A misdemeanors can be like DWI second, DWI 0.15 or higher.
Assault bodily injury.
Assault by family violence, non-felony family violence, which means first offense, non-choking, stuff like that. Hit and run, minor injury. That's Class A misdemeanor. Major injury is going to be a felony. It's a hybrid offense. There's not too many hybrid offenses. That is one of them.
Right.
And that's what I do since I'm a crash investigator, so I deal with those. Then we move on into the state jail felony. That's the lowest level of felony offense, called a state jail felony. Some states don't have a 5th level felony. We do in Texas. We have a state jail felony, which is 180 days minimum to 2 years maximum in the state jail, plus a fine of up to $4,000 or both.
Yep.
So a felony is defined as any offense where you could serve more than 1 year in prison. Because remember, the Class A, you could do 100 way up to 1 year in county jail.
Right.
You're not going to get transferred to a prison on a Class A misdemeanor.
Right.
But a state jail, you will go to a prison, even if it's 180 days. Now, some states, like, we'll just leave him in the county jail, and TDC will pay that jail to house that inmate instead of taking up a bed at TDCJ. But that means you could have done time in prison. That's a felony, because you could have gone to a prison, not a county jail.
Yeah.
Third-degree felony, well, let's back up. State jail felony. There is no domestic violence in state jail felonies.
Nope.
State jail, domestic violence skips from Class A misdemeanor right to a third-degree felony. There is no state jail family violence. State jail felony could be like unlawful possession of a weapon in a bar.
Like drug
pursuit,
possession,
vehicle pursuit, first time around. Less than a gram of marijuana, coke, heroin, fentanyl, stuff like that. That's your possession of controlled substance penalty group 1, less than a gram. That's a state jail felony. And then more than 1 gram, was it 1 to 4 grams?
Well, yeah, less than a gram, 1 to 4.
So 1 to 4 grams is third degree, 4 to 200 is a second degree. No.
4 to 2, yeah.
Yeah.
4
and
to
then
2.
200 to 400 or more is a first degree felony. But then you also have your enhancements, like possession with intent to distribute. So it was individually bagged. So that's going to add it, because you're not just using it, you're selling it. So there are enhancement charges there that could take it from a state jail to a third degree, or from a third degree to a second degree, so on and so forth. Now, I've never seen a PWID under a gram. How are you distributing that? It's under a gram. It's personal user amount. Third degree felony, up from that's minimum 2 years to maximum 10 years in prison, plus a fine of $10,000. So what they're saying there is, if you're convicted, the minimum sentence would be 2 years. Now, black and white, you're thinking that means if you're convicted, you're going to prison for 2 years. Nope, you could get deferred adjudication. You could get probation in lieu, where they just don't screw up. If you screw up on this probation, you're going to end up right back in jail. And then a second degree felony is 2 to 20 years in prison, plus a fine of up to $10,000. And first degree felony is 5 to 99 years or life in prison, plus a fine of up to $10,000. And then your capital offense is death or imprisonment without parole.
Yep.
So that can be capital murder, super aggravated sexual assault of a child, which means a child under 5. There's not too many capital offenses. And then there's treason, but we don't. Treason is a whole different level of offense. There is the only crime in the Constitution is actually treason, and that's punishable by death. So those are your felony punishment and misdemeanor punishment ranges. And people are like, well, he got convicted, but he didn't go to prison. Okay. He got either deferred, or he took a plea bargain, and that plea bargain was he'll do probation. So as long as he stays out of trouble, he finishes his time in the free world, as long as he doesn't screw up.
Yeah.
If he screws up, though, yeah, you're going to the clink. Sorry. And now that sounds great in theory. We see people violate probation left, right, and center, and don't go. They'll get picked up on a motion to revoke warrant, an MTR warrant, And then they'll come down and talk to him like their answers to cut him back loose. And
Yeah.
they just give him a chance after chance after chance after chance. And I'm all about chances, but how many chances do you really need to give somebody before you go, okay, you're just not doing it. So that's crime and punishment, black and white, on the board as it's written. The reality is far different. Now, you get these people that go, well, how come that guy got more time than that guy for the same offense? Okay, that guy's first timer, that guy's had 12 priors. So that is a factor. Because when you're in sentencing, the judge or the jury will have your complete criminal history called a CCH. Well, you're not learning. You keep doing the same things over and over and over again. Like, yeah, maybe you need to actually do some real time because you're just not figuring it out. You're not getting it. Then you got the guy that never had a criminal history and he screwed up. He's not going to get the same level of time that guy is. So people are like, oh, it's based on race. No, it's based on your criminal history. It's based on your conduct. If you're cussing out the judge at sentencing, he or she, they're human too. And if you're not showing any remorse, you're not contrite, you're not apologetic, you're basically, fuck you, Your Honor, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're probably going to get some more time because you're not listening. And judges don't like that. And judges hold amazing amounts of power, amazing amounts of authority. But that's why they're there. That's why they're voted in. So misdemeanor courts versus district courts. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You got your county courts and your district courts. County courts handle misdemeanors. District courts handle felonies, and they can handle misdemeanors if it's in the same criminal episode.
Yeah.
Let's say I arrested you for, let's say I pulled you over and you were drunk. That's a misdemeanor, but you also had controlled substance. That court could elect to take both charges and deal with both. Sometimes they'll split it and we'll move the DWI to a county court and they'll keep the narcotics in a district court. But the court can elect to take both charges and be done with them at one time.
Don't forget about your JPs and your municipal courts.
Okay, great question. So you got constables have justice of the peace precincts. Some counties have 1. Some counties may have 12, 8. I think Houston has the most, 8.
Yeah, the Texas, the most you can have is 8 precincts.
I think it's 8, and Houston has 8.
Houston has all 8. I think they're the only one.
And then you got some counties, because it's based on population.
Yeah.
So if you get a West Texas county with only 5,000 people in the entire county, you may just have one constable and 1 justice of the peace because you don't need more than that. It's based on population size. Houston is so congested with so many people, you have to break that up. Or you have 1 super constable office, that would pretty much the same authority level as a sheriff at that point. And then you got your municipal courts, which is your city courts. So Austin Police, San Antonio Police, Houston Police, those are your city city municipal courts that handle the Class C stuff, very small claims. Most small claims go through JP courts.
Yeah.
You file your small claim in JP court because JP court has authority even in the city as well. So you take a city and cut it into 4 pies. Even the city and the county, you still have the JP precincts for that precinct that covers city and county. So you take your small claims to JP court, and I think I don't know what the amount is. Do you remember what the amount is that JP can handle up to?
The lowest is $1, and then it's up to
highest is 20,000, I think. Or
I think it's 10.
Is it 10?
I want to say I think it's 10,000.
I don't really know much. So if you get a ticket issued by a sheriff's office or a constable's office, you're going to go to a justice of the peace court to handle that ticket. If you get a ticket by a municipal police department, then you're going to handle it at the municipal court for that agency, for that city. So you got your lowest level, municipal, then JP, county court, and then you got your district courts. And now there's above that. So now the next level is the Court of Criminal Appeals in Austin, in Texas. If you don't like your sentence, you appeal it. You didn't get the appeal here. You go to the Court of Criminal Appeals in Austin or the Supreme Court of Austin, which is for civil remedy.
Yes.
So you got 2 separate. Supreme Court handles civil and Court of Criminal Appeals handles the criminal. You don't like that answer. Okay, I didn't like my answer. Well, we're in the 5th Circuit Court here, so you take your next appeal to New Orleans, to the head of the 5th Circuit. And they go through it, and they say, nope, we don't agree, that we think that was a good sentence. The next level up is going to be the Supreme Court of the United States. That's the final stop. There is no higher court in the United States than the Supreme Court of the United States, and that's in D.C.
Right.
So that's your levels of court, and it varies based on what it is. Now, any case can go all the way to Supreme Court. Even the Class C can go all the way to Supreme Court. It can, absolutely. It's a years-long process. It doesn't happen overnight. If you got to go through your Court of Criminal Appeals, then the 5th Circuit Court, then the Supreme Court, and none of that is quick.
Right.
And they're overloaded with cases. So that's That's how the courts work in Texas. I can't speak for the states because we're not in the states. I can speak about Texas.
Yeah.
Um, but you see these, like, man, that dude got 30 years because he had 50 pounds of weed. Okay, but he also had so many priors for narcotics and robbery and evading and assault that they're like, you know what, you just maybe need to go to prison because this shit's over with. But then you get the guy, first time offense, gets caught the 5 pounds of weed and he gets a deferred adjudication charge. He's got no prior history.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I agree with that? I don't. Because if you hit them, you wrap them on the knuckles hard enough the first time, they may not do it again. If there's no consequence, you're going to keep doing it over and over and over and over until eventually you die or you screw up completely, and now you're going down for the long. You're going down for the double barrel.
Yeah.
Like, so it sounds good in theory to go. Everybody, that Lady Justice is blind. It's not, and the scales of justice are not balanced, and they have not been for a very long time.
There's I guess, given like kind of what I've seen, it depends on like so many different variables. Like I know one big thing is that like restorative justice, right? That's kind of an initiative where they want to make punishment appear to be more, I guess, humane or more. I really wish I had the right word for it. It's because America is seen as there's too many prisons in the United States. There's like this profit for prison pipeline, the school to prison pipeline. There's all these different like theories out there. So they're trying to make punishment for crimes. Man, I really wish I had a good word for it, but I don't. So there's all these different things that come factor into play. That's why like kind of when I sit and I look, I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, I understand why somebody who could, let's say, for example, aggravated assault, uh, to where the person suffers some great bodily injury, some serious bodily injury, but the dude only gets the dude or the female gets like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And for the victim, that doesn't seem like justice for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess you got whoever the district attorney may be, who they ran on some certain platform to get elected. You got the judge who has to worry about getting elected and whatever their beliefs are. Well, they got to meet in the middle somewhere. Prosecutors got to work with the judge to get some sort of punishment to where they don't feel like they're being super heavy-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So while the max for that could be 20 years, and the family of the victim is looking to get to 20, no, to give the 5. And that's going to be some, hopefully, meet in the middle. I don't know. I'm just going to say, I haven't seen it like that. I've seen a lot of victims, family of victims, even some victims that are really upset with the punishment because they just feel like, what was the point?
What was the point? Yeah. And you may not even do the full 5. So
because of parole.
If you're in prison, you're in good behavior, you haven't caused any problems, they may parole you because that frees up a bed and you're showing that you haven't acted like a turd in here. Maybe we can try this parole thing out. Now, statistically, parole people usually don't do well on parole. They, depending on what it was.
Right.
No, I'm not saying that everybody fails at parole. You get the guy that got his third DWI and he ends up actually getting a couple years, right? But he gets out in 8 months for good behavior and they put him on parole for the rest of it. And he never breaks the law again, And then you get the guy that's a habitual offender. He's just going to keep doing it. And parole boards are so overworked and undermanned that they just can't keep up with it. So I've arrested bench warrants or blue warrants, excuse me. They're called blue warrants, Texas. It's a parole violation. And I didn't report into my parole, my parole officer, or I went out of state and didn't tell them and they found out. Okay, you're on parole, so you know your requirements. They tell you don't do this, don't do this. All you gotta do is call us. Hey, I'm going out of town. I'm going to Mississippi to see family and I'm coming right back. As long as you tell them, they're generally pretty okay with it.
Yeah.
It's when you don't say anything and you just leave and then they find out you were in Mississippi or you go to New York, you go to California, and like, you didn't ask permission, you didn't tell us you were there.
Yep.
That's a problem. That's when it becomes a problem. Or while you're on parole, one of the conditions of parole and probation is always the same. No consortium of felons. You cannot hang out with other bad guys. You want to stay out of trouble, that's not how you're going to stay out of trouble. Hanging out with them is not going to keep you out of trouble. It's going to put you in trouble.
Yeah.
Or you got your, you can't consort, not supposed to leave the state or the county, depending on your requirements, without permission of your probation officer or parole officer. So people are like, well, he violated. How come he's not going back to jail? A lot of factors in that.
Yeah.
Bed space. What was the violation? Was it just minuscule first time he screwed up, or is it like a continuous pattern of behavior? He pees dirty. Like, yeah, but and these days, it was just weed. They might violate you right away, and they come, yeah, dude, I still smoke weed, man. What do you want? It's like, well, you can't. You can't use narcotics. Some probations or parole can't have any alcohol. They'll
Yeah.
put no alcohol use, period, no alcohol, because they know that alcohol leads to bad decisions every time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Drugs lead to bad decisions and bad conduct. So crime and punishment, the punishments don't always fit the crime. And it sucks because, like you said earlier, families are like, hey, what the hell? Like an intox manslaughter. Let's talk about that because that's what I deal with is intox manslaughters, intoxication assault. Intoxication manslaughter is 2 years or is a second degree felony. That means you were drunk and you caused the crash that took someone's life. You have to have both. You have to be impaired and cause the crash. It can't be you're at the red light and the drunk slams into you, or that person slams into you from the back and they die. You're stopped at a light. You didn't cause the crash.
Mm-hmm.
But the punishment range for a second degree felony, as I stated earlier, which is that up to 20 years, I don't think I've ever seen a 20-year sentence for intox manslaughter. The highest I think I've ever seen was 18 years. And I think that's because it was like his fourth or fifth DWI. So you're like, yeah, you kept rolling the dice till you finally killed somebody. But the average punishment I've seen for that charge here is like 8 years out in 4.
Yeah. There's like there's so many factors that goes into it. Like you said, bed space, philosophies on punishment,
prior criminal history, conduct during court. That's actually a thing.
How
people don't believe that, but that's actually a thing. If you're in court acting the fool, that can affect you.
Yeah, the conduct of I'm sorry, not the conduct, but how skilled your attorney is and how connected they are, because that all makes a difference too.
Absolutely.
It's something that no one wants to talk about because you would think, oh no, not like Justice Blonde thing, but I don't know. I would be naive just to say, oh no, it's just like it's solely based on skill of the attorney.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who do you know? So this world is still always going to be who do you know?
Yeah,
it's who you know and who you blow. If you want to get the old school phrase,
yeah,
it's true.
It's like I would be pretending to not acknowledge what I'm seeing, and in this forum, I'm going to acknowledge it because I see it. No one wants to talk about it because how dare you show. Like, how dare we make that a known thing? But no, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and the court is like the great game. How good your lawyer? Is your lawyer connected? How is your conduct? What's your criminal history? There's so many factors that go into, again, what we use in law enforcement, the phrase called totality of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Courts, it's pretty much similar. What's the totality of the entire circumstances? That's what a trial is for, to bring out all the circumstances and go, okay, black and white, they accused him of aggravated assault deadly weapon. That's what they accused him of. He tried to stab a guy. Yep. And that we arrested him for that, aggravated assault deadly weapon, which we don't have attempted murder in Texas. But we do have aggravated assault deadly weapon.
Yeah.
But is that I was across the street and pulled a knife, started walking towards you, or I'm actively trying to stab you? They're both aggravated assault deadly weapon. But what's the differences in what actually happened? That's not for us as law enforcement to decide on the scene we make the arrest. Right. Aggravated assault deadly weapon, we arrest you based on the probable cause. Court is where you bring out your mitigating factors. Mm-hmm. That motherfucker's been threatening me for years. That's a mitigating factor in why you stabbed him or attempted to stab him or whatever. Like, he's been threatening me for years, showing in front of my house, versus I just ran up to some random dude, stuck him.
Right.
So that has a lot to do with it too. So you may get the max punishment on that one, because it was a premeditated, you just ran up and just didn't know the guy and just stuck him. That you may get a much higher charge than these two have been beefing for years. They've been threatening each other for years. And this dude showed up at his house and, motherfucker, I'm going to kill you. And you finally got tired of it. You're probably not going to get the same punishment range. Are you going to be convicted? Yes, probably, because in black and white, you still committed an aggravated assault deadly weapon. But you might get 5 years on that scenario versus you just ran up and stabbed a dude. You may get 30. So It's factors. It's mitigating factors. So you have the right to mitigate your crime. You have the right to go, no, I did it because of this. It wasn't black and white. For us, it's black and white. We have no choice. We're cops. We arrest you based on probable cause. We don't decide they're on the side of the road court. We're not holding court. You committed the crime, we make the arrest. We let the courts decide, was it justified, not justified? What are the mitigating factors? Was this premeditated? Was it heat of the moment? Was it he felt he didn't have a choice? All those factors. Can you legally shoot someone stealing your car at night in Texas? Yes. Should you? No, it's a car. It can be replaced. But if you run up and you're holding him at gunpoint in front of your car, get out of my car, and the guy tries to run you down and you rip off 5 rounds of the windshield and you kill him, that's probably going to be justified. Now, we might arrest you on the spot, but when it's all said and done and the investigation's said and done, the court's said and done, you might get cleared or you might just get a smack on the wrist. Versus some guy's trying to break into your car and to walk up behind you and shoot in the back of the head. 2 different scenarios, same situation. He was trying to steal your car.
Right.
But did you give him a chance? Did you attempt to, like, hey, man, get out of my car and call the cops? Or did you just execute him in the back of the head and hope for the best?
Right.
So that's the differences. So just because you have a crime does not mean you're going to get the same punishment as guy number A and your guy number B. You may get 2 different scenarios because of the actual events that occurred. So there's, on paper, aggravated assault deadly weapon, but then there's what led up to it. What were the factors? What was the totality? What happened prior conduct? Does this guy have a prior for aggravated assault? Has he done it before? Has he threatened people before with guns and knives and tried to run someone over with a car? Because if you try to run me over with a car, that's aggravated assault deadly weapon. A car is a weapon. So that's all those factors in crime and punishment that decide the overall. Like when you get these judges, I sentence you to 700 years. You're like, just say life without parole. Come on. Just say life without parole. And there's been cases where somebody was sentenced to death, survived the execution, and said, well, you sentenced me to death and I died and came back. It didn't work. Like, you need to free me because I fulfilled the sentence. You executed me, but I survived it. Like, I win. And so I can't tell you how those cases actually turned out. But I'm really kind of curious how many of those cases actually, like, Supreme Court goes, that's true. He was sentenced to death, and he carried out the sentence, and he survived. Like but that's one for the Supreme Court to decide as scholars and legal scholars to go, yeah, let's think about this. Let's look at the totality. So crime and punishment is a touchy issue, and it only gets more touchy as we go on because we want to make it about race. We want to make it about orientation. They want to make it about religion. They want to make it about anything other than what did you do as a person. Take the race out of it. Take the orientation out of it. Take the religion out of it. What did you do? Don't give me this hooey. Oh, I'm getting more time because I'm black. Oh, I'm getting less time because I'm white. Or I'm affluent, so I have a better attorney, so I got less time. What did you do?
Yeah.
Now, the rich can afford better lawyers. I think I said this in a much earlier episode. You get the justice you can afford.
Well, yeah, because here's one of these things where, we're not supposed to pretend it doesn't exist. Can't really remember, I don't remember the name of the person, and I don't want to. This case is adjudicated anyway. It didn't happen in Texas. This happened way before I was even a cop, but I remember, I guess this rich kid, maybe had a traffic collision or something like that.
Oh, you're talking about the affluenza?
Kid? Yeah. He got 10 years probation, or pretty much a lengthy probation term where any other average individual would get prison.
Oh, yeah.
But his lawyer, and this is when it comes to the money, how skilled your lawyer is, and possible connections, he had made an actual legal argument that because he was raised with money and was not fully aware of actions having consequences, pretty much any juvenile ever, that he suffered from affluenza.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think that is a real psychological disorder in the DSM. Like, there you flip to like the index and it's like, affluenza.
Yeah, not a thing, but he made the argument and it stuck.
And he got probation.
And a lot of it was, this kid was raised rich. He had no consequences his whole damn life. He got away with everything because of who his parents were and their money. And then when he actually screwed up and killed somebody, the argument was made that, well, he didn't really understand the consequences of his actions because he's been shielded his whole life. So
it's like any juvenile ever.
Yeah.
Average middle class juvenile ever.
Yeah. They don't look. Kids think 2 minutes ahead. How's this going to affect me 2 minutes from now? That's as far as they think in their thought process. I steal this car. How's it going to affect me 5 minutes from now? Adults, as you get older, and if you're a model citizen, not a turd criminal, but a model citizen, tend to think long term. If I do this, how's this affecting me in 5 years, 10 years, if I make this decision right now? Kind of like rolling the dice on marriage. Like, you're rolling the dice. Like, how's this going to affect me in 10 years? Are we going to have a happy, blissful marriage full of love? Or is this going to be, we hate each other's fucking guts, and it turns into the movie War of the Roses? And for those of you that have not seen the movie War of the Roses, I encourage anyone thinking about getting married to watch the movie War of the Roses. I think it's Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, was it? Maybe. But The movie's got some very valid points. It's called War of the Roses. It starts out with love, and they try to kill each other at the end. Like, and that's why it's called the War of the Roses. So, consequences have actions. Problem is, the consequences aren't, or actions, excuse me, actions have consequences. Boy, it's Sunday morning. I am tired. I haven't had enough coffee. Actions have consequences, but not everyone gets the same consequence for the actions.
Yeah.
So I could do the same thing you could do. My lawyer's better, or your lawyer's better than me, and I'll get 5 years and you'll get deferred. Or I've got a 20-mile long criminal record and I break the law, and you do the same exact thing with no criminal record. You may get that slap on the wrist, and I'm going to get the hard time.
Yeah.
So there are factors that come into play, and it's easy for families to go, it's not fair that this guy that killed my little girl drunk driving only got 8 years. You're right. It's not fair. And I don't agree with it either. But that's not our call to make. But I can tell you that if he'd never been arrested before, that court's going to look at that and go, well, first time offense. Now, if you get the guy that gets the full barrel, 20 years, because he's got 5 prior DWIs, was not supposed to be driving, he might get the highest punishment range because of his prior conduct.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a reason criminal history exists. That's why we have criminal history. Shows what kind of person you are. Shows what we're dealing with. We pull you over like, okay, like you don't learn. So, and that can be used, believe it or not, in probable cause. It could be part of a probable cause. It's criminal history.
Well,
people don't want to believe that, but it is true. It's called prior conduct. Now, if I pull you over and the last time you got in trouble was 35 years prior, that's not quite the same thing.
right.
Then, hey, you're on probation currently and you have 5 felony arrests within the last 8 months. Like, okay, you're a turd right now.
Right.
But 35 years ago, because I get those all the time where I'll get a suspect and I'll look up their criminal history as part of my prosecution guide. And I'm like, this dude ain't been arrested in 25 years. I said he was arrested in 1992 for DWI in 1992. Has not been in trouble since.
Right.
Okay, he learned his lesson or he just ain't been caught again.
Right.
One of the two. But then I'll run criminal histories. Oh, this dude's currently on probation for another violent offense. Like, what the hell, dude? Now, I hate this phrase. Oh, the court said I was innocent. Okay, we know that if you got arrested, you were probably guilty of it. Because we arrest based on probable cause, which is the highest level to arrest.
Yeah.
We know you did it. You just got a slick lawyer or a sympathetic judge. But not guilty does not mean innocent. Let's be real clear about this. Not guilty does not mean innocent.
Seen it personally.
Seen it personally when I know. I watched him do it. And not guilty. Yeah, he still did it. I watched him do it. But legally, under the law, he's acquitted. Didn't happen. It's over. It's done. And that really gets my goat and grinds my gears sometimes. Like, motherfucker, I know you did it.
Like the funny thing is just like, body cameras were made for transparency. I think having a body camera is great, but court is also the place where a good defense attorney can argue that that the body camera is prejudicial to his client.
Yeah, it makes my client look bad because
the jury will see him as only a bad guy. He won't get a fair trial
because the way he's acting. Well, yeah.
What is the point of the body camera?
Yeah.
It's supposed to give the whole story, but legally you can take a chunk out of it, and then the jury, to me, is left confused.
Yep. I think they should play the entire thing, good or bad. That is what happened. That is the event as it occurred in real time, no editing. That's what happened.
Because I don't think the state can argue, well, we need to cut this part of the body camera out because it will be prejudicial to my witness on the stand. If the law enforcement officer is the witness, if you're like acting like a D-bag that night, that's going to be up there, and the jury's going to see you as the uniform officer acting like a D-bag to the defendant, but the defendant can't see. I'm sorry, but the jury cannot see
the defendant's
actions that cause the officer to act like a D-bag.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like. It's just like, oh, did it just happen for no reason?
Yeah, so I had those.
It's just strange, I love body cameras. I think it's a good.
I think they're great.
Good thing, tool. great tool. But when you can like edit the body, like not edit the body camera footage, but take out the parts where the defendant, it shows their mind state as to why they committed the crime. It's a bad thing.
I agree. I don't think you should be allowed to suppress footage. Now, can you silence certain parts? Yes. So jury does not need to hear about a juvenile.
Yeah.
So they'll mute that out to where they don't hear those details. Or when I had one, it was a manslaughter. Case is adjudicated now. He was found guilty, thanks to my efforts on the stand. But while I was investigating him for intoxication manslaughter, he mentioned he was under investigation in Houston for DWI. Had not been adjudicated by this point. So they edited that out. They muted that part out for the camera because so the jury wouldn't be swayed by the fact that he's already facing a DWI already somewhere else.
Right.
Made sense. He had not been adjudicated. It doesn't count until he's convicted or, whatever the outcome of the case is. So they can mute that. Or if they're talking about a juvenile that has nothing to do with the case on camera, they'll mute that because it has nothing to do with it. It's a juvenile. We don't need to bring a juvenile into it.
Right.
So there's instances. But if you got the guy who's acting like a complete tool from minute one, take my background as a traffic officer. I walk up on him. Hello, good afternoon. The reason why I stopped you is XYZ. You got your driver's license. Oh, you're a fucking fascist pig, cocksucker, motherfucker. I ought to kick your fucking ass. Bye, 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 bye. Just run their fucking mouth for 10 minutes. Finally, I go, shut the fuck up. And, oh my God, you swore at me. Yeah, because I sat there and listened to your diarrhea for 10 fucking minutes of the fucking mouth. I didn't walk up and say, hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay, but the defense lawyer would be like, no, let's mute my client saying all that. But let's play the part where the officer calls them, hey, fuck you, or shut the fuck up. I'm like, yeah, I got a problem with that because I'm not here to take your abuse.
Yeah.
No. We'll fight it in court. See you there. Calling me names on the side of the road, one, doesn't do anything. But when it does get played for a jury or a bench trial, a judge, then you're probably going to get that ticket now. A lot of times, I would not give a ticket because you actually listened to what I had to say. Like if I explain the safety violation, why it's a violation, and why it's dangerous, and you're like, you know what, sir, you're right. I'm sorry. You know what, man? I appreciate you listening to me. I appreciate you actually hearing what I had to say. I'm going to give you a warning because you actually heard what I had to say. But, fuck you, I didn't do shit. Blah, 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 blah. It's only because I'm black. It's only because of the car driver. It's only because of... Here's the citation. I'm not giving you a ticket because you're being an asshole. I'm giving you a ticket because you're not hearing the corrective action. So maybe you need to hear it from a judge.
Yeah.
Because you're not hearing it from me. But if you just shut up and hear what I have to say, and I can make the safety correction, and you absorb that and go, you know what, you're right, my bad, then the problem is solved. I solved the problem. Hopefully, I solved the problem. But some people, you walk up, man, they're yelling out the window when you're getting out of your car. They're yelling at you out of the window. What'd you stop me for? And I walk up in the car and tell them, I'm not going to holler at you from my door. I'm going to talk to you when I get up here.
Yeah.
So I'm so-and-so. I stopped you for XYZ. Do you have your driver's license insurance on you? I'm not giving you that. I don't have to give you my license. I don't believe you're speeding. Blah, blah, blah. You are creating an entire problem where one didn't exist. I don't have to identify to you. I don't believe I was speeding. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You have to give me your license whether you like it or not. Court is for you to get found guilty, not guilty.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not getting out of the car. You can't make me. You have to tell me why. No, I don't. So I've had those where they have a warrant, and I'm not going to walk up to the door with a running car and go, hey, man, you got a warrant. And there they go. Hey, man, go step out of the car. Why? Because I asked you to. I'm not getting out. Yes, get out of the car. You have to tell me why. No, I don't. Get out of the car. Once I get him out of the car, get him cuffed. Hey, you got a warrant for your arrest. Oh, you had to tell me that before you cuffed me. No, and that's exactly why. Right there. Because you're going to fight me, and I'm not trying to fight anybody today. Like, oh, you jackass. So, although the sheer amount of bad information out there,
Yeah.
you don't have to give a license unless they explain everything to you. You don't have to get out of the car unless they explain why. Blah, blah, blah. Wrong, and wrong again. And even there is TikTok lawyers or defense lawyers on TikTok telling people, you have to get out of the car. When the officer tells you to get out of the car, you have to get out of the car. Officer asks your license, you have to give them your ID. You have to give them this. These are laws. You don't have a choice. And people start arguing with the lawyers in the comments. I'm like, he went to law school and he's a practicing member of the bar. He's telling you the same thing I told you for free. He's going to tell you for $150 an hour and $300 in court.
Yeah.
You idiot. So I don't know why people think that because they saw something on TikTok that like some guy got away with it. He didn't get away with it. The officer finally said, you know what? Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to deal with your shit tonight. The officer should have done his job. But the officer's probably so aggravated and fatigued by it. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. Get the fuck out of here. Have a good night. I don't want to deal with it no more. So that's everything from traffic stops to like capital murder or super aggravated sexual assault of a child. So the punishment ranges vary based on the level and severity of the crime.
More in black and white on paper.
Yeah, then more than what's in black and white on paper. And that's just the realities of the legal justice. Now, I've heard it said, and I agree with it, this phrase, ours is the worst system of all except for all the others.
Yep.
Because some other countries, you don't get rights, you don't get a defense. You don't get to tell your side of the story. You know, let's talk Miranda for a minute. I watched a great video by a retired judge, and he was explaining Miranda. Because everyone thinks the whole case is dismissed if you don't get Mirandized. Not how that works.
Mm-hmm.
The statements you made can be killed. They can be redacted.
Right.
You know, they can be suppressed. Like, nope, he didn't say that. We can only talk about what was said Miranda after. Prior to Miranda, maybe we can get those killed. But that doesn't mean your case is gone just because you didn't read your Miranda warning. That's not what that means at all. You don't get to get away with a murder just because the officer didn't read you Miranda. That's not how that works.
Right.
So I've heard that before too. Well, my whole case is going to get dismissed. No, you stabbed someone to death. No, you're not going to walk because the officer didn't read your Miranda before he asked you what happened and you said, I stabbed him. And the officer kept asking you questions. They'll just investigate past that. And then when they do your formal interview or interrogation, because we don't say interrogation anymore because that's not nice. We say interview. It's the same shit. Nothing changes. Same room, same chairs. You know, they'll Mirandize you again and then ask you the questions. So if you admitted to it after that, they can use that. They just can't use the one prior, but they can use the one after.
Right.
Or they get a video of you stabbing the dude to death. They can use that.
Yeah, they can.
So this whole, you didn't read my Miranda, the case is over. Sorry to burst your bubble, dude. You spent too much time on TikTok law. So, sorry, buddy. It doesn't work that way. So that is the essence of crime and punishment. I know it's not what everyone wants to hear. Certain demographics, certain belief systems don't agree with it, but it is the country we live in. It is what we've created, and it is what it is.
Yep.
So if you don't like a law, become a congressman or a senator and change it.
Or just redress your government, First Amendment right.
Yeah.
And have redress about
But you're not going to
whatever
change
the law is.
You can
petition hard to like get a change, maybe. I'm saying it can happen.
But the Supreme Court doesn't rule on things just because of a loud crowd.
Yeah.
It has to go through the court system to get all the way to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to decide, is this a correct law? Was this the correct interpretation of the U.S. Constitution? Because believe it or not, that's what the Supreme Court does. They interpret the Constitution.
Yep.
That is what they're interpreting. So you got your Bill of Rights, 1, 2, 3, all the way up. But then we've had case laws out of those Bill of Rights. So what does freedom of speech really mean? And the courts have had case law where they decide what free speech really means. Or the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay, but now we have case laws that have made state laws over what that means. A felon can't own a firearm.
I've seen a lot like legal briefs out of this circuit, like Fifth Circuit, where a lot of guys who have been convicted for felon possession, their main argument is that their Second Amendment right was infringed because the Second Amendment says you have a right to bear arms. But then, like you said, there's hundreds of case law precedent where it is actually constitutional for states to say, states' rights, felons, we don't want felons in our state to have access to guns. And they can set whether it be for life or X amount of years.
Yeah, so you got your federal.
Yeah.
You got federal, which says a felon can't own a firearm ever again, period, end of story.
I think a drug addict can't possess a firearm and ammunition. Federal law.
Yeah.
Like, it depends.
If you are adjudicated mentally deficient or have a dependency on drugs, yes, you're not supposed to be able to buy a firearm. Then there's states. Remember, 10th Amendment, rights not exclusively granted by the government, given to the states, right?
Right.
State of Texas says 5 years after the end of your felony sentence or the end of your probation or the end of your parole, you may now possess a firearm again, but only in your home. You may not carry it. You may not go to the range and shoot it, but you may have it in your home for protection.
Right.
Texas has said that's fine because you still deserve protection. You know, someone breaks in your house, you still have the right to defend your property.
Right.
But some states, once you're a felon, that's it. You can't own a firearm ever again, end of story. That's California. Never, ever again, end of story. D.C. Or Illinois, Virginia, Maryland, you're not owning a firearm ever again.
Yeah.
So states can make their own laws. The 10th Amendment says that, as long as it does not infringe on rights. And the Supreme Court decides if that's a rights infringement or if that's a legal, valid law.
Yep.
And so the Supreme Court has ruled states have the rights to make those laws. Now, if you're at the end of your sentence, you're at the end of 5 years, you can't go to a gun store and buy a gun. You're going to fill out the ATF form, and it's going to get denied because you are a felon.
Unless you lie, and then
unless you lie,
you'll get it, but then you'll get a knock like a couple of months later.
Now you've created another crime. Now that one's federal. You lied in a federal form, right? And
Hey,
here comes the black Suburbans pulling up to your house. So the question is, well, how do you get a gun? You can't buy one. Someone can't sell you a gun if you're a felon. So how do you get a gun? If you're married, she can buy a gun,
yeah,
and then you can have it in the house. But you can't go buy a gun, and you can't buy one as a straw purchase from somebody else, and they can't buy a gun for you.
yeah,
So that's basically how that works.
yeah.
So I think this has been a great episode. Hold on. Work never ends just because I'm, filming an episode.
Who wrote Crime and Punishment originally? Was that Dostoevsky?
I think it was Dostoevsky.
Yeah,
I think. Here I am. We're trying to sound educated. It might not be Dostoevsky, but I think it was Dostoevsky.
Yeah, I want to say that was him. Just for the sake of, we got Google, we got phones.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to Google that. Who wrote Crime and Punishment? It was Fyodor Dostoevsky. Jax.
Yep. I never read the book, but I'm putting it on my reading list because, I want to read it. Want to see.
I'm going to close out this episode with this. Everybody's heard of the shit movie Starship Troopers from the 90s. It's a shit movie. Horrible. Horrid.
It's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
It's dumb as shit. But the book, written by Robert Heinlein back in the 50s, was completely different. It had a different message entirely, and they made it some cheesy-ass movie in the 90s. But I recommend any of our listeners read the book Starship Troopers. It had nothing to do, actually, with war. It had to do with citizens and what it took to be a citizen and how to have a good society. And Robert Heinlein wrote that book in the 50s, and he talked about the fall of America in the late 20th century. And it was eerie how accurate he was from a book he wrote in the 50s about everything that's happened now that led to the fall of America. Everything he said that happened that brought the fall down is happening now. From a book written in the 50s. The man was a genius. Great read. Everybody should read it. And then when they do, they'll know exactly the part what chapter I'm talking about that I'm talking about right now. It's towards the end of the book. But it's eerie how accurate he was. And it's scary. It was written 50 years before that even happened, and he was dead right. I'm seeing it now, and anybody reads it is going to be like, oh, shit, he was right. And it led to the fall of America because crime was not punished. People were getting free rides. Feelings matter more than facts. And when you start doing that, it's going to be the rise and fall of America, and it's going to happen because the avalanche is starting to form. And if we don't stop it, it's going to kill us all.
Yeah.
And we're going to end up a third world shithole that went from the preeminent superpower in the world to a third world shithole because if we don't stop.
Right.
And that's where we're headed. It won't happen right away in the next 10, 20 years, but I worry about what we're turning over to our kids and our grandkids. Like, I'm sorry, guys. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. We want to talk about that because we get a lot of misinformation. We hear it. I hear it. He hears it. I hear it as an investigator. People telling me, oh, you can't do this because XYZ. And he hears it. Oh, you can't do this because XYZ. And it turns out, well, you're wrong. We can. And or victims' families when they call and how come he only got... I can't answer that question because I can't speak for the judge.
Yeah.
So for our listeners out there, brothers and sisters in blue, as well as the civilians that enjoy the show, please take care of each other this week. I know this wasn't the longest episode, but we have other things going on today, so we're trying to get what we can out. We love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Watch others' backs. Do the right thing morally, ethically, and legally, and you'll be all right.
Yep.
May catch a little heat on the news. Eventually, you'll be okay as long as you made the right moral, ethical, or legal decision. So, Jamie, anything you want to add?
MPH was the best of Starship Troopers. Go Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, my God. Colonel, what was his?
I can't remember.
Carl.
It's
Carl.
Carl.
Yeah. Well, too bad. Yeah, that was such a cheesy-ass movie. But the book was amazing. The movie was absolute trash. Except for the shower scene. That was pretty good.
I think that's the only thing that stands out for Starship Troopers is the fucking shower scene.
The shower scene. That I could have got behind when I was in basic training. Like, hell yeah. Bring the females in here. Let's all shower together.
Oh, that movie
So,
was ridiculous.
well, to everybody, thank you for joining us. If you want to reach out to us, email us at runningcode2023@gmail.com. That's RUNNINCODE2023@gmail.com. Don't put the G on the end of running. Or leave us a comment on the videos that we'll post on YouTube. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us. Let us know. We'll try to answer them. We do try to answer them. I feel kind of bad no one's emailing us. I feel like maybe we don't have as many friends as we thought we did. So, If J Man, you got nothing else, brother.
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, from J Man and I here in South Texas on Running Code, we're out of here.